The South African Communist Party takes this opportunity to wish all the workers of our country, and indeed the whole world, a happy May Day. We want to start by sending our most sincere condolences to the family as well as all the comrades of Comrade Dennis Goldberg, who passed away day before yesterday. The passing away of Comrade Goldberg represents a close almost of a very important chapter in the history of our struggle. He was one of the last two Rivonia trialists who were still alive. Comrade Goldberg was a great revolutionary and fighter for freedom, was amongst the first batch, if not founders, of Umkhonto weSizwe and soldiers, and he dedicated his entire life to the struggle for liberation and reconstruction in South Africa. We are celebrating May Day this year, facing one of the most difficult circumstances and challenges perhaps ever faced by the democratic South Africa. We are in the middle of a disease, the coronavirus, COVID-19 as it is known, which has significantly disrupted social life, but much more seriously has also taken life away. But COVID-19 has exposed once and for all the inability of capitalism to meet the needs of the workers and the poor, not only just in our country, all over the world. Capitalism has been exposed for its hypocrisy, and in our very own country, COVID-19 has exposed and worsened the inequalities that we have. Never has been our slogan, "Socialism is the future, build it now," been so relevant. We are celebrating May Day this year, also facing, of course, what I would refer to as the most immediate triple challenges. The first one I've already spoken about is COVID-19. The second one is the deepening economic crisis in our country and globally. And thirdly, the multiple crises of social reproduction, making many families, households unable to make ends meet. The working class, as has always been the case, must not be found wanting. As we celebrate May Day, the working class needs to rise to the occasion and be able to provide the necessary leadership that will ultimately lead us out of the multiple crises that we are facing. The first thing that is facing workers this May Day is the necessity to ensure that we unite and we do not allow the burden of COVID-19 to be offloaded to the workers and the poor of our country, or indeed anywhere else in the world, as we are already beginning to see. The second challenge is that of arising out of this, is that of intensifying the struggle for the realization of the national health insurance. One other thing that COVID-19 has shown is that privatized medical care, as well as capitalist practices in health, are no solution to deal with the problems that are facing humanity and the majority of the people in the world. Indeed, there must be no excuse from anyone to not intensify the struggle for a national health insurance. The second big task that workers are faced with in our country is to intensify the struggle to transform our economy. As the SACP, we have said recently, coming out of our Special National Congress at the end of last year, neither state capture networks and their looting practices nor neoliberalism will be able to allow us to deal with the economic crisis that we face. State capture networks must be defeated, and so is neoliberalism, whether its older version of the Washington Consensus or its more modernized version of that driven by the likes of JP Morgan banks and the OECD. Therefore, the workers need to unite for the transformation of the financial sector so that we mobilize domestic resources for purposes of investing in our productive economy in order to create jobs. The other struggle that we need to be intensifying is indeed the struggle against corruption at all levels. The 500 billion rands announced by the president recently as part of a stimulus to face these challenges that we face, we need to ensure that that money goes to where it is supposed to go. We must also say during this May Day that as the SACP, we welcome the pro-poor and the pro-worker interventions by our President, Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa, in expansion of social grants to deal with the immediate social crisis or the crisis of social reproduction worsened by COVID-19. Let workers of our country unite to build the kind of South Africa that we want by intensifying struggles on all fronts. On our part, as the South African Communist Party, we will do our best to play our vanguard role and provide a way forward to a better future. And there is no better future other than a socialist South Africa. As we celebrate May Day, let us recommit ourselves to the struggle for socialism, which daily is being proved as a much more humane system. But let us conclude by also committing ourselves as workers of this country and the South African Communist Party to international solidarity. We want to particularly welcome the ongoing commitment of the Cuban people and the Cuban Revolution to international solidarity, as we welcome more than 200 doctors and other health professionals from Cuba who are coming here without any expectation of enriching themselves, as some people allege, but to do their internationalist duties to assist us to deal with COVID-19. We call upon the world and all the progressive forces to intensify solidarity with the Cuban people against the criminal blockade by the United States. We also wish to express our solidarity with the people of Venezuela. We say Donald Trump must leave the Venezuelan people alone to pursue the path they have chosen. We also wish to continue to express our solidarity with the Palestinian people, as well as with the people of Western Sahara. As our Nelson Mandela said, our freedom will never be complete until the Palestinian people are able to achieve their freedom. Amandla.